Hello and welcome to Spirit Touched. We're still talking about angels, and let's finish up on Lucifer. Boy, he has a powerful tale. Revelations 12:4 in the NIV. Here's what Paul says in Ephesians 2:2. Isaiah 14 tells us Satan's number one problem. He wanted to be worshiped, not to worship. That's what God calls covetousness. It's why most wars are fought. It's also known as lust. We can't sin alone because its essence is contagious and worse than any other known virus. 2 Peter 2:14 tells us the result of their sin, along with Matthew 25:41. This is why we have to be so watchful. They are vicious and will stop at nothing to get their way with us. Do not let them have it. Revelation 12:7 through 9 tells us that right now there's also war in heaven. When God uses your name twice, it means the message is very important. So listen up. Genesis 22:11 through 13. The answer to why God asked Abraham to give his son is that God was willing to give his own son. Romans 8:32. Angels could have saved Jesus in the garden or on the cross, but he did not ask. Christians need to get a hold of the fact that God's will be carried out no matter what. We can believe and obey, or we can reject. There will be no help for those who reject. That rejection brings on Matthew 13, verse 50. I'd rather have the reward of heaven. Luke 16:19 through 22a. Unbelievers know the law but do not accept it. Acts 7:53. Angels do not have the privilege of proclaiming the gospel. They have never been separated from God by sin, so they do not understand how to preach. Their purity keeps them from understanding what it means to be lost. Since we have been lost, we do understand, and that's why it's up to us to preach to others just like us. Angels can help those who preach. Here are some other things angels can't do: evangelize, pastor a church, but they do help pastors and watch over churches. Counseling, enjoy fellowship with Jesus. They are not joint heirs with Jesus in the kingdom either. How interesting that we can do all of those things. Zacharias and Elizabeth show how God works through godly parents. They were in Luke 1:16 and 17 about their son. Now skip to verse 76 through 79. The message to Mary about her son was the most prophetic promise God has ever given. She sang Luke 1:47 while visiting her Aunt Elizabeth. When Gabriel spoke to Mary, he was not preaching. Instead, he was bearing witness to the word that her son would preach. Now let's check out Mary's fiance. and what the angel told him, Matthew 1:20 and 22. Now look at what Gabriel told us in Daniel 9:24 and Isaiah 52:13 to 53:12. This is a picture of the mission of Jesus. This tells us angels can prophesy. Just look how the prophecy of the Old Testament gets fulfilled in the New Testament. We need to take heed to the Song of Mary in Luke 1:52 and 53. Notice that most all the time they bring a message to someone, the first thing the angels say is, "Don't be afraid." The only time they do not say it is when they bring a message of judgment. Isaiah 54 verse 5 is why the angels spoke. Luke 2:10 and 11 to the shepherds that night, and verse 14 is the first Christian praise song. Wow. Now notice it was after Jesus prayed the words, "Thy will be done," in the garden that night, that the angel came to help him. Luke 22:42 and 43. On Easter morning, when Mary, sister of Martha, got to the tomb, one of the angels told her the most awesome words ever spoken. Luke 24:6. Those 7 words changed history forever. When, after his ascension into heaven, the disciples that were watching heard the second greatest words in Acts 1:11. Angels will bring Isaiah 2:4 and 11:6 to pass. Rebelling against God has always been the biggest stumbling block, and Hebrews 9:27 gives us our penalty. When the angels merge time into eternity, then a whole new kind of life will begin. Time is truly running out. We are very busy self-destructing. 2 Peter 3:10 is coming very soon, along with Romans 2:5 and Jude 6. Coming events will bring Luke 21:26 upon hearts of fear. This virus could already have us at Luke 21:9 through 11, and verses 12 through 25 could be upon us very soon. Then we'll get the wonderful words of verse 27. We will get to see Matthew 13:41 and 42. Oh, what joy, along with the wonder of Matthew 25:31. You may send your prayer requests to heanswerstwo@gmail.com.